Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode number 37 here in the Happy Space Prison. It's been a while since I've been able to record, and the holidays kind of threw me for a loop with lots and lots of stuff to do. And the end of the year is usually really busy for me with work, so just haven't been able to get in here, and I am excited to get back to it. I took some time to get some things ready. Our rockets are currently off still exploring the star map to finish out getting all the research information done, and I have retrofitted this rocket a little bit. I used Professor Oakshell's rocket calculator again to figure out exactly what I needed and installed a biological cargo bay so that we can go and get ourselves a Gassy Moo. And I think I have this all set up. Let me just make sure I have it to the right one. I do, and we're going to launch it right away. And then this episode, we're going to work on getting the achievements with the Gassy Moo finished so that we can finish out all the achievements in this playthrough. A rocket has returned from the Gassy Moo planet, and I am ready to release our Gassy Moo from our biological cargo bay. So all I've done is down here I put in a critter drop-off. So once I have the Gassy Moo, I can select it in here. I couldn't do it before because we don't actually have it on the map. Now we do because he's in that biological cargo bay. So we're going to put it here, and we're going to release him and then get him moved down there right away. So let's just empty our storage. And there he goes. We're going to wrangle him up at a high priority because I just want to get him down there. I don't think that it would be a problem for him to be out here. I don't think he would take any damage, but I'd want to get him down there so we can get started working on him. All we need to do is get this guy tamed, because our achievement is to tame him, and then he is one in the checklist to tame the other ones. Then we'll be done. We could work on trying to set up a space form. We actually have two here. I didn't even know you got two with. Been a long time since I've done this, so let's wrangle this one as well. We'll get them both down there, and then that'll finish out all of our achievements for the base game achievements, except for the job suitability, which we were having trouble with the last time. I don't have any other ideas yet on how to try to fix that. I think that I could try to do it the way I've done it before in other ones, so I might try to do that here in a minute. But it involves a lot of tedious micromanaging. I'll show you what I'm going to try for that after we get these Gassy Moos down. I want to get them in, and all we're going to do is tame them in here. I'm not going to set up a food source for them. I'm not going to try to get a population of them going. I just want to knock them out for the achievements for this playthrough right now. If I do decide later on I want to do something more of this map, I could always go get more of them, but I don't think I'm going to. So we're going to get them down here. We're going to get them tamed, and I'll work on a couple other things, but we're almost ready to get to the point where we're going to finish this map out, and that is by sending somebody through this temporal tear. I would like to get a couple more research things done just so I can say I did them all. But we're getting there. We're getting very close to being done with everything we want to do with this map. Gotten our Gassy Moos almost tamed. We have 7% to go on the one that's got down here first, and the other one's a little bit behind him, but we're getting them tamed. We just need one of them. Gassy Moos are a little different than other critters. Instead of them having eggs, they have a chance to call meteors. So they call in a meteor shower that brings in more critters. So that's what the song does. So we're not going to be taming these guys. I mean, we're taming them, but we're not going to be keeping them because we don't have a use for them right now. But just so you know what we'd have to do in order to do that is we have to feed them gas grass or plant husks. Then they give us natural gas, and it allows us to get more of them by calling them in through meteor storms. Kind of a hassle, not a huge amount you get from it. So we're not going to be looking to do it in this playthrough. It might be something we try sometime for fun. The gas grass that we need to use to feed them is something we'd have to get, and then that requires us, if we're doing it domestically, we need to feed it with liquid chlorine, which is hard to do. We could plant it with wildly, I think, and that would work a little better, but Not something I'm looking to try to do. But we did do that to get our achievements done, which means that we have finished out all of the base game achievements except for that final job suitability. So we're going to work on trying to figure out a way to get that done. It's going to be a bit of a hassle. There's a couple of ways I think I could do it. In the past, what I've done is I put our duplicants into rooms where they come out of the room and they are automatically in an Atmos suit. And then I one at a time queue them up and send them out to do a job. Like I put them in a room and I have a tile built in that room, and I go through one at a time and make sure that every person has done their job. So we could try to do that. The other thing we could do is reduce the number of duplicates we have so that it's easier to do that. And the way to do that is by sending them through the temporal tear. We could also, have them just disappear through mysterious circumstances, but we're not. We do need to get somebody through the temporal tear to end the game. So I think that what we'll do to end the game out is we'll get a rocket set up that we can send through the temporal tear, and every time we send it, we lose our duplicate and the rocket, but we can send them off to explore in another system, and we're going to do that until we get the number of duplicates down to a very small amount, and then we're going to have just a few of them that we need to manage getting our jobs done, and it'll be much easier. That way we'll be able to finish out the job suitability and actually finish out every achievement to say we've officially done it. I will save the game before we start sending people off through the temporal tear, so that when I put up the save files for the world, if you want to play before that, you can have that as well. That way we have the best of both worlds. There'll be a save that comes out at the very end, and we'll have one before we start sending duplicates off to other dimensions far away. So I'm going to work on getting the rockets set up that we need for that, and I think just because I really want to do it, I'm also going to try to get the last few of these planets all researched. We don't have too many left to go. These are all done. We have this one going. We have somebody going here now. We have to do research here and here. So there's a bunch of them, but we only have to send rockets like twice to each one. So I think I'm going to do that off camera, get them all done so that they're all researched. And, we'll just keep it rolling. And then we'll come back when we're ready to end the game with the temporal tear and getting our duplicates out. I do also want to take a moment to do some work with this petroleum boiler, because we're almost out of magma and I have space materials, so I can set up a system just to keep the petroleum boiler going. I'm not going to do anything too crazy with doing sour gas boilers or anything in this playthrough, because we're almost done and it seems like it's a lot to do for a small thing. But I am going to build something that replaces the heat source for this build here, so that we can just see how that works. And then in the save file, if you want to play around with it, you'll have it. So few less things to do, and then we'll be finishing up the entire playthrough, which is pretty exciting. I've been doing a lot more space exploration. We worked our way all the way up to almost to the top, and we're finishing out just a few more places to get the research done on all of the planets. And we're getting ready to send somebody up to the temporal tear. While we were doing that, I've been working on this system down here, and I'm going to show you a bunch of things. This is just something I built just to kind of show what you can do with Thermium. I wouldn't really need it. I mean, I do need something to continue to make petroleum, because over that same amount of time, I have depleted the magma down here at the bottom of the map. And I have dug out the rock that formed when it cooled down enough, and I am now sweeping all of it. So I'm going to start with that. I'm sweeping all of that. I moved where it gets dropped off to over here. I also, the spot I used to have up here, I have it being swept up and sent down to that spot as well. And the reason I have it here is because I have this sweeper set up, and I have a coolant loop coming down with some conduction panels so that they can stay cool and keep running while it's moving the stuff. But this is picking up, I have obsidian, igneous rock, and then diamond in here. And the diamond is because I had a lot of hot diamond from when I had this diamond window tile going down into the magma. So all of those are getting dropped off here. They're getting picked up and they're running around on this loop, which is going through this section of window tile, and it keeps going through there until the temperature of the items drop below 125 degrees. So it heats this up, that heat transfers in here, and it helps to boil off the polluted water that's coming from our generators and things like that. When it gets too cool, or so that it's not going to be able to keep this, the goal is to keep this room above 130, so if it goes below 125, it can't do anything for me. So as it comes through here, it goes out. I run it down through this rail, and it comes down here, and it comes through this section, and it comes in at 125 degrees, goes through this really cold gold block, and when it comes out, it is in the negatives. So it is cool, very, very cool, and it can be stored. So if it goes back up, it gets sent up here, and it gets sent up into our main storage. So we're processing all that igneous rock and diamonds and all that other stuff. What was the other thing that's down here? I have abyssalite as well, but that I'm not running through right now. Obsidian. So all that's getting cooled down, and when it's cool, it goes to storage. I'm not running the abyssalite through because abyssalite transfers heat so very slowly that if I put it on this loop, it's just going to stay on that loop forever. So the abyssalite will just stay here, and some of it will still be up here because I'm not sweeping that up yet. Eventually I will, just because why not? But the system down here is the system that is creating the cool here for our gold block. It's also cooling down these steam turbines, and then it's basically its job is not to cool, but to generate heat. So I have a bunch of Thermium aqua tuners in here. I don't need 5 of them, but I built it just to get it up to speed really quickly. And what they do is they have a loop that goes through and runs through the petroleum that is from our petroleum boiler. I turned it into a very big tank. So that loop continually comes through at 126 degrees. It goes through and it cools down and it comes back out. Now, this is not actively cooling the petroleum right now because this room is hot enough, but it will cool it down, and then this petroleum keeps getting hotter, and it will continue to keep these running. So these aqua tuners can all run whenever I need heat, because I'll always be able to cool this down. And just in case this does get to the point where it gets cooled down, I put a liquid tepidizer in here to warm it back up. I can put more of them in if necessary, but it's just kind of a proof concept. In the result of what we're doing, we have enough heat here that we're not going to run all of these, and so we're never going to get this really, really cold. But basically all of these, if the temperature is above 6, which it is right now, then each one of these is going to cool down the coolant, and it'll go through. And so because we have 5 of them, we could cool down 70 degrees all at once, which would drop off a lot of the, would cool down this quite a bit, bring that heat back down, and keep these running. They're not running right now because they're all set up with end gates, and the end gates are taking a signal from the thermosensors. Thermosensors are saying, hey, these are over 900 degrees, so that means the steam in here is above 900 degrees, meaning 900 degrees is being transferred up this way, which is more than what I need to keep boiling this crude into petroleum, and so I don't need any more heat. If this gets too cold, and we get to the point where it's below 900, that means we're cooling off down up here, and we need to send more heat. And I chose 900 because this breaks down at 1025. Gives us a nice big window. More than enough heat for what we need, boiling the petroleum, but not enough that it's going to break any of the thermium components that are in here. The reservoir is also made out of thermium, so it doesn't overheat, and so are these aqua tuners here. The steam turbines exist just so that these other loops that are running, if it continues to push the heat in this room up so that this sensor here goes above 950, then these turbines activate. It just cools them down just a little bit. That way this room won't ever overheat past 950, which means that these aqua tuners will continue to run without overheating. And that's important because the room is sealed off. because I don't want that heat to transfer into my supercoolant liquid locks I had, because supercoolant will turn to gas at much cooler temperatures than this. I should put coolant in here that is more resilient than that, but it's not really necessary. I have a loop going through up here through a little pool of supercoolant, which keeps these turbines nice and cool so that they are ready to run when I do need them. It shouldn't actually happen very much at all, because these don't run that often, and so they're not going to keep pushing it, and these all shut off at 900, meaning this should never get above 950. But when I was first starting it out, that happened quite a bit, because this was connected to the magma pool, and so we quickly pulled all that heat out and sent it into the steam, and these just turned it into power. And that was because I was done with the magma, I didn't need it anymore, so I was okay with just burning it all off quickly, which was fine. So now this system, theoretically, will run forever. As long as I keep putting oil in here, we'll have heat from the petroleum, which we can cool down with the aqua tuners, which will heat up the steam, which will give us enough heat to continue to make petroleum from the crude oil. So now this is a closed system. It doesn't need any extra input. Before, it was relying on that magma, which was finite, and so it could stop working. This, I could literally run hundreds of thousands of cycles, and this would continue to run, because the petroleum is renewable, because the petroleum burns off and creates more water than we need to make the crude oil. Crude oil makes the petroleum. The petroleum's heat is what's being cooled down to generate the heat we need to make petroleum. It would loop forever. And you could make this in a much smaller system. There's lots and lots of ways you can do it, but this works, and it will work forever. And so now we can run off petroleum forever. You could also expand on this and use this power to then turn the petroleum into sour gas, which is a much more efficient power system that can do a lot more power if you needed big amounts of power for a late game base. For my playthrough, we're winding down. We're not going to do that with this, so that's okay. I am sweeping up all these rocks down here and getting them dumped in here, just because I figured I'll get it all cleaned up and be done with that, and we'll get that last little bit of heat out of here into going to this. We could also, if we wanted to be able to add heat into here to make it so that we could have more heat for the steam down there, I could easily connect this up now over to this window tile, and then have a system here that also heats here. Wouldn't be a problem at all. There's enough heat to be able to do it. And, you know, I might do that at some point, but we have enough heat from this, plus the heat coming from the refined metals that come through and stuff like that. I also think that I might want to have it so that when refined metals come through here, they go through and they get to here where they're about 125 degrees. I could redirect this path to come back down and have that run through here as well to get that heat off of them and get them cooled before they go put it into storage. So just some more things you could do with this system that would be kind of nice. But I'm not going to worry about those things. What we are going to do now is we're waiting for our rockets to get done. We have one coming back now. We're going to send it back out, and we're going to finish. I think the last research I have is on the glimmering planet. This one will be done because I have 2 rockets going there. I have 1 there. Then we have research on this one. And then we have 1 more that we need to send here. And then we'll have rockets that can go to the temporal tear. I want to research this just because I want to be able to say I've researched every planetoid. And then I'm going to start sending people into the temporal tear. When you do that, that means you lose the rocket that you send and the duplicate that's on it. They go through the temporal tear to the farthest traces of our galaxy. And for our purposes, just as a way to end this series out, I'm going to send all of our duplicates through the temporal tear, except for a couple of them that I can micromanage to get that last achievement for job suitability and really end this series out properly. So we still have a lot to go because it's going to be time consuming to get the rockets to go and finish those researches, but we're in the home stretch, and we're going to use up a lot of the resources we have to make rockets to send off to send our duplicates into their next mission. But we're almost there, and we'll be ready to wrap this playthrough up. I have reached the point where I have my Duplicants doing their things, and the rockets are all back. We have gotten all of our rockets, all of our research is either done or queued up now. So we have a few left. We have this one here that still needs, actually this one's done. We have these two here that are being done, and then this one here that is being done. And our last rocket is this one, which is the wandering rocket. We are going to select that one, and we have gotten it set up so that it can go all the way to the temporal tear. Now, we've also modified the rocket so it's got a good amount of fuel. I put in some sightseeing modules. I don't know what happens when you send a rocket with sightseeing modules in space. Never used them. But I'm hoping that it means that when they go to the temporal tear, they'll go through it. We'll find out. So we still need to get these researches done. And then we need to get the researches done here. So the first rocket I'm sending there doesn't have the research capability. But I think if I send it there, I might have the ability to send my rocket through. I don't know. We might need to finish all the research before we can do that. I just don't know what's going to happen. But we're going to try it anyway, because, you know, it'll be fun to try. So all these rockets are ready to launch, so I'm going to launch them all at the same time. Oh yeah, here we go. Imperative achieved, the great escape. So sending a rocket towards the temporal tear, I guess, activates it. Let's watch as our rockets all take off. I guess the last one I didn't quite get the click off on time. It's fine. Send it back. But we are doing good. We are ready to go. Kind of works out that I sent 4, because there was 4 people in the video. And that is that. Our home world in this universe is gone, replaced by the skeleton of a planet and a wound in the sky. But I hold out hope that other worlds exist out there, tucked away in other dimensions. I sent my duplicate through the temporal tear, carrying that hope on their shoulders. Perhaps one day you'll find a place to call home and begin a thriving colony all their own. See what happens. I don't know if the rocket actually still needs to travel there. I don't know if my playthrough is now done and I can't do the rest of the stuff I wanted to do. I did save before I had launched, but that finishes out the Great Escape, it says, which is great. Let's check. We have a new log entry. That's just what I just read. And let's check our star map and see what it says. We have all of these things still going, and that rocket's gone. So, I guess when you're sending them to the temporal tear, it doesn't take the time to do it. I don't know how you research at the temporal tear then. We'll find out once we're done. But these rockets are launching these other ones, and they're going to finish out that research. But we need to build another rocket, because I want to send more people through the temporal tear. But I also want to try to get that research done. So I'll mess around with that, see what we can do, and we'll work on getting another rocket set up for the rest of our duplicates. We're going to go down to just having one duplicate running the entire colony, and then we're going to have them finish out the job suitability, and that will be our finale. Everything down here is working great. I'm almost done cleaning up the mess down here. That heat is being transferred into here, and this has just been running perfectly fine. It keeps up with the heat, it doesn't overheat, and it keeps my petroleum running. So I'm pretty happy with that build, and I'm pretty happy overall with everything in the playthrough. So we're gonna just let these rockets finish up one more time, and then I'm gonna get another rocket built that we can send off some more duplicates, and we'll just continue to finish that until we figure out exactly how to get all the research is done, and then we'll get rid of everybody and finish out our series finale when we come back. So I learned a few things. One is that once the temporal tear has been opened, Now I can send rockets to it. I sent another one to it. They're on their way, but it didn't go through the temporal tear, which means that I send research rockets, I'll be able to research the temporal tear, is what I wanted. So when the rockets that are researching here and here return, I will send them back out to research at the temporal tear. The other thing is that means I can't send another rocket through the temporal tear, which means I am stuck with who I have, but because I sent 4 on that rocket, I'm down to 9. And that has allowed me to get closer on job suitability. Assuming that it goes correctly here at the turn of the cycle, I will hit 10 out of 10. Because with just the 9 of the duplicates in this map, we were able to get it done. So I guess it was somebody was missing it, but it just didn't seem to make any sense because it was telling me that I had them all, and I didn't. And then it didn't count. But hopefully, when we tick over to the end of this cycle, we will get the last one. I did run another diamond window tile across here. I'm just trying to see if I can get enough heat to transfer from there to help with boiling the water down here. It's a long distance, so this is getting hot, but I lose a lot of heat transfer along the way. I think if I get rid of the debris on here, we won't be having heat transfer to that. It might help some, but it's not a big deal. I'm not really trying to make this work too much. It's just for playing around. We could always build another one of these over here if we really wanted to. But again, it's just, at this point, just messing around to try different things out. Hey, there we go. Colony achievement earned. So that means we got our final achievement. If we go and look, we have job suitability, which means we've done every achievement in the playthrough. Got them all, including both of our imperatives. So that was our goal from the beginning. The rockets, if we keep going, we'll be able to get the research done. We currently have them going. I can send a couple more up to research the temporal tear just to see what's in there. I'll do that before I save the file. But the last few minutes that I have from this episode, I'm just going to go around and show a few things to remind what we have done on the map, and some of the things that were pretty cool, some of the things that were a little overboard. But we have one heck of a water tank going. We have filled this all the way up, almost to the top, and that's because of this beast of a water purifier that I have here. This is not how I would build a water purifier. I just was experimenting with lots of different things in here. Especially now that I have Thermium, I could do this in a much more efficient way than what we have here. But it was fun. It was a cool thing to do. We have a ridiculous amount of oxygen and hydrogen. So we can run off of that for power and oxygen for a long time. Our duplicates have made tons of plastic for us. Literally, they have made, let's see how much plastics we actually have. We made almost 2,000 tons of plastic during this playthrough. It probably would have been well over that if it weren't for the fact that during the last update, they changed some of the things around in here, and so these guys are not doing well. So basically, we send them up there, they get a little bit of plastic, and then they're done. If I have to build another Dreco Ranch for plastic in another playthrough, I'll have to come up with a better way. The starvation method just doesn't do it anymore, and that's okay. I kind of like that they're getting rid of different starvation methods for ranches, because I think that is a little bit OP. So I do, yeah, like I said, I do think that they are a little OP when you have starvation ranch, just because it's kind of, you're missing a lot of the mechanics. The mechanics are, you're supposed to meet their needs, and then they provide you with resources. So, you know, I like it when there's ways to get around it, but I think that it's also fine that you have to figure out ways to do it. If I had to do it in the future, I would just set up a proper ranch where these guys spend half their time in hydrogen, and then I could shear them, stuff like that. There's definitely ways to do it where you can get a lot, especially because you don't need 2,000 tons of plastic for sure, and there's other ways to make plastic as well. So the only reason I think you'd ever need that much plastic is if you were using the plastic to turn it into petroleum, like to melt the plastic into naphtha, use that to create a power supply. Like that's just kind of crazy. we built this huge food farm that's all passive. We ended up with 86 million calories of berry sludge. That's kind of ridiculous, but you know, it was fun. Doing this process here got us with so much steel that we're actually haven't been producing steel for a long time because we've been topped out. All of our steel has been full, and we just have been going through and stockpiling resources. So if we look here, the main thing that we need for making steel that's limited is lime, and we have almost 10 tons of that. So with 10 tons of lime, if we needed to make more steel, that means we can do a 10 kilograms a piece. That's, you know, I don't even want to do the math, but it's a lot more steel than what we already have. So this has been pretty fun making this work and having it be a renewable system. In my next playthrough, which is going to be a little while, I'm going to focus more on systems like this because I'm going to be playing in Spaced Out for sure, and we're going to have lots of different planetoids. So we're going to set up like outpost systems where we have each place has just one job, and then they'll be doing that. And then it's, ideally, I want to set it up so that there are places that are making food, and they're sending that food out to the other outposts, and kind of like a trade system where we have automated rockets and stuff. But it's going to be a while before I get to another series. I have some small projects in mind I want to do in between. I have some other games I want to put some focus on, but we have done quite a bit in this playthrough. I'm glad that we got a chance to play the base game. I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to get back to Spaced Out. There's a lot of new stuff that I haven't played in it yet, and we'll get to it for sure. But for now, we're going to call it a day. I've done everything I want to do on this map. I will be saving this map. I have saves from the break of every episode, and I will upload them now that I've finished it, so that if you're watching the series or you're following along and you want to play with anything at any point, you can reload from the end of each episode that I've made, so you can just kind of play around with things, see what you like, and have some fun with it. So thank you for watching. Made it all the way to the end, and we will see you in the next series. Bye-bye.